guy was screaming at me and pointing at me right above me. He didn't have a weapon. And these two guys over here just started laying lead on me. Nothing worked from my chest down. I just rolled over and started pulling myself up the hill and would throw myself off the backside of it. That's the only way I was faster than they were. They wouldn't give up the high ground. And we played that cat and mouse game for about 3 hilltops. And I laid down, I turned around, dropped my weapon down, and waited. And that spotter, he was chasing me, hilltop for hilltop. And from me to the end of this stage, I saw his hands come up over the rock, picked his head up right here, I shot him right through the teeth. And then these other two guys, they came, their high ground turned into my level ground. And I lay there and waited till they walked right up on top of me. I had a frag left. And I dumped a frag on top, grenade on top of them. And that was it. Well, man, I was in bad shape. I was dying. I knew it. I just didn't want to lay down there and die. So I grabbed a rock, and I reached out as far as I could in front of me, and I drew a line in the dirt. I was like, I'm going to crawl to that till my feet hit it. And if I'm still alive, I'm going to do it again. That's the new plan. And that's all I did. I draw a line, crawl to it, fall down a hill, crawl up another hill, draw another line. I did that for 7 miles, and I found a waterfall. And I slid down into the river and knocked myself out again. And I remember I woke up and I got 2 sips out of that thing. That was the best water I ever had. And I heard they were screaming at me again. And right over my left shoulder, I mean, from me to the wall, this guy comes over, Afghani. I spun around. I was on my knees. I spun around. I had my gun on my hip, safety off, tension out of my trigger. I don't know why I didn't kill this guy. It was Gulag. Those of you know the story, when the villagers found me, this is where they found me, in that river. And I don't know why I didn't kill him. He's been to visit me multiple times. You know, we talk about it. I'm like, man, I don't know why I didn't kill you, man. He's like, I don't know why I let you live. We don't have to talk about that crap, you know, I mean, whatever. But he started walking down on me. I had my gun. He was like, okay, you do 2 English words, shampoo and hydrate. That's it. I'm not lying. That's straight up. He was doing this. Okay, shampoo, hydrate, shampoo. That's what he was saying to me. And I swear to God. And I laugh about this all the time, too, when I get in trouble with my wife or something, like shampoo, hydrate. Because I mean, she gets it now, but I mean, I dropped my muzzle, let him walk right up on. He lifted up his man jammy and showed me he didn't have a weapon. But he's like, okay, shampoo, hydrate. And I was like, I don't need a hair wash, man, but if you got some water, bring it on. Well, 4 of them jokers had to pick me up. I was a big boy back then. They had to carry me down in the village. They gave me all the water I could drink, pulled me in. How am I doing on time? All right. What's your name?
Caitlin.
I'm Marcus. Nice to meet you. Well, they picked me up and they carried me into this room, and they stripped me naked, and they started doctoring me up. Like, started pulling that frag out of my legs. I had one that was sticking in my shin bone. I didn't like that too much. Pardon me. I passed out. And I woke up, I was dressed up in a set of man jammies with a hat. I mean, I had a beard down to here. So from a distance, looking at me, I looked like a villager. When you eased up on top of me, there was no mistaking what I was. Then about an hour later, the door kicked open, Taliban came in, grabbed me, and that was a party. You can use your imagination. I don't talk about it, whatever. They had me all day, all night, and the next morning. And it's coming to cut my head off. I had 4 of the villagers came in here and snatched me out of that room and hauled me down the mountain and stuck me in a hole head first, left me there for 27 hours. I didn't like that too much, man. But they came and got me. Taliban had encircled the village. For the next 4.5 days, they moved me around that village strategically. I'd be in a room somewhere and a wall would blow up. A bullet would zip through the wall. I'd come in there, pick me up, carry me somewhere else. I figured out, man, what was going on. There was kids dying, women getting hurt. I was like, nobody needs to die because of me, man. Just sit me outside that door. He's like, nah, we said we'd keep you alive. We will. I learned, I don't want to say more about myself, about being a man but being a good man. My dad, he's real big. He's like, I don't owe you anything. Put a roof over your head, food in your belly, show in your back kind of deal. I'm raising you to be a good man. That's it. My shoes aren't here for you to fill, but you can walk in them every now and again if you need them. I was out there, man. I don't ever say I'm sorry because I don't do things I don't mean to do. If it's an accident, it's an accident. I don't have to apologize for it. But I was sitting in that village, man. The second last day I was in there, and I was like, hey, man, I'm sorry for some of the stuff I've done out here. I didn't care about you at all. I'm a gunfighter, man. And when those towers fell, I'm not a city boy, but I took that personal. I got a real problem with people who hurt women. Don't hurt a woman in front of me, because I'll do everything I can to pull you off this planet. Well, this lady was walking around. She didn't even know what I was. There's some Marines standing there in uniform. You know, Marines look great in uniform, man. So she was handing out pictures of her daughter who died in the Twin Towers. And she handed me one. And all she said to me was, "Make this right." And I took it. I still have her. I wrote "No Mercy" on the back of that picture, and I laminated it. And I would carry her on deployment in my chest pocket. I had no idea who she was. That didn't matter. And before any operation, I'd sit on the edge of my bed, all jocked up, my face painted up, all sadistic, vampire, I'd tell you all that crap, but I'd pull her out and stare at her and imagine her dying. A building falling on top of her, blood, her screaming for help, anything. And I'd work myself into such a rage, man. We went out there, when I put a bullet into you, that was the nicest thing I did to you. You needed to pray to God I didn't get my hands on you. I'm not apologizing for that. I mean, it's just the way it was, man. And I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry." And he just looked at me and he said, war is hell, and Pashto. Nobody spoke English. You want to talk about learning a language? You'll learn one real fast when your life depends on it. Man, the kids would come in the morning and I'd be like, "Nose." You know, that's how basic I started. And that last day I was laying in a riverbed, man. There were two guys picked me up, were dragging me up this hill. I heard my name in English. These two Army Rangers came around the corner and I grabbed that guy. I never hugged a man like that. I was like, "Hey." And I thought it wasn't real. And I was kind of like, he's like, "Hey." Know about you Navy boys. I'm like, "Come in for the big win, bro." You know, I didn't want him to go. I was like, "Hey," because I was an infant, man. I had to carry me everywhere. They had to take care of me. I couldn't do anything. And then that was in the morning. And then that helicopter came in to get me that night. In the movie, it was a daytime rescue, really. That's not how it went down. In real life, it was at night. That helicopter came in to crash. There was gunfire coming in from the middle of the mountain, and then every air asset we had in Afghanistan was dropping ordnance on top of it. So it was a party. And that helicopter came in to crash. They loaded me on it. We dropped off the mountain, and then I was in the hospital for a while. And that's when I found out, when I first got in there, they asked me, they were like, "Hey, did you know about the helicopter that got shot down?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, the rest of your platoon came in to get you out, and a 12-year-old boy shot an RPG in the back of it and blew it out of the sky. And killed 16 of my guys right then and there." I didn't know that. That's how loud that gunfight was. I couldn't hear a helicopter rolling down the side of the mountain right past me. I had no idea that happened. Man, I was in the hospital for a while and patching me up, and then I got back online. I went back into Iraq in 06 and 07, and I got my knees blown out on a raid. And it cost me my career. The hardest thing I ever had to deal with was the day they told me I was more of a liability than an asset because of my injuries. You know, when you're in something like that, when you're in a club, athlete, or something like that, man, you're rolling, you guys are successful. I mean, you guys are national champions, for God's sake. You know what I'm talking about. When they take you away from that, man, that's the hole. I never had any problem with combat, war, anything like that. I had a problem when they separated me from my boys. I just didn't know I didn't know what that was. I never felt anything like that. That's how close we get. And, thank God I met my wife. I was telling these girls back, people like to understand what I'm doing now. I'm married with kids now. I'm an indoor cat. So, I met my wife on a blind date. I walked up to her, and she lifted her head up me, smiled, and I fell in love with her right there. And let me tell you something, guys. You younger guys in here, this is my brother and I was playing. No wife, no kids. While we're in the SEAL teams, we had a lot of fun chasing y'all. No, I'm not gonna be perfectly honest, okay? Settling down with one, which is one in the cards. When I met her, something shifted on me. I knew her right then and there. I asked her to marry me that night. I married her a month later because my brother was in Iraq, and we're twins, and he wouldn't let that go down. And we've been married 5 years. And I tell people, I prided myself on being a man, what I was, kind of deal. I bowed my head to nobody. I would never get on my knees for nobody, but I bow my head to her every day. She's this tall, and she controls me like a computer. She just kind of snaps her finger. The best thing I learned to do was always say yes, even when I'm jacked up. When it's my fault, I'm like, you're absolutely right. I don't know what I did, but it's my fault. We've been married 5 years now, and 2 arguments. Don't call it an argument. Both of them are my fault, because I like to jump off the rails every now and again and get kind of crazy. Yeah, it's something she gave me. My son, Axe, I'm raising him to be a man. He's easy. I got a daughter. She's 3, Adelaide, and I have no idea what to do with her. Because I've never even raised my voice at a woman. You know how to do that in my family. So I'll try and tell her what to do, and she's like, "No, She's already figured it out. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go whip your brother till you do what I want. I can play that game too. You're way too young to be as sadistic as I am right now. So. But that's the greatest part about it. And the lesson with that is my father and my granddaddy, I always say this, man, never let anything define you. I used to say as a man, but when I'm talking to y'all as a person, man or woman, if you ladies in here don't think what I said up here doesn't apply to you, you're wrong. You have every ability to do anything. If you think you don't, it's on you. You know, I was in college. I did that. I was a Navy SEAL. Yeah, I did that. I wrote some books. I was a writer. Yeah, I did that. Movie, whatever. I always move on to the next one. Now I'm a husband and a father, man. I'm looking for the next one. Next adventure. Don't let something pigeonhole you and define you as something. That's not it. I like to tell people, I don't care if you want to wake up in the morning with a British accent and tell everybody weird stuff. If you believe that, I mean, if that's your baseline, if that's what you're made of, that's what you are. And I was talking to the young men in here too, man. My baseline means that it's my values. It's what sets me as a man. It's my base, which means I will never let anybody push me past it. You have to kill me. It's the respect thing. That's it. Don't be afraid to tell somebody, like, hey, this is what I am. You take it or leave it. You know, I was telling these guys over, man, be that guy that the president call you in the morning and then you're rolling with the Hell's Angels at night. All right? Never meet a stranger. Never close yourself off to any group of people. Never judge a book by its cover, that kind of deal. Don't make that mistake. All right? Granted, about 2 minutes, you can figure out if somebody's an idiot, okay, and walk off. But, I mean, you never know. That is what I've learned in this world that I live in now, is that, I mean, people are just extraordinary. And the things that you can learn from them, don't just do that. Learn something about them every day. You know, that kind of deal makes you that better of a person. So when someone comes up and you're in a situation, you're like, oh, yeah, hey, I've been here. This is what we need to do. That kind of deal. Man, it's all about the ride, right? Not the destination. Never passed down a road trip. You guys are in college, you know that one. But that's all I got for you, man. How am I doing on time? Great. We got to pay her. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me out here, man. I know all the caliber of people that y'all bring in here, so it meant a lot for y'all to have me back. It really did. And Grant, I can't tell you something that's going to change your life. I can't tell you something that's miraculous. It's not how it works, man. That's just hard work. The one thing, I just never stayed down. And I've been hit so hard, I thought the bones fell out of the bottom of me, man. I mean, I've crawled to the shower in the morning. And eventually I could pick myself up to look in the sink. All right, my muscles, and I'm like, all right, one more day. Is this what